Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you have had a wonderful weekend. I did, and I'm so glad to be back with all of you. Today, however, we're going to look into the last chapter of parts of speech, and we're going to finish the parts of speech with interjections. Now, interjections is often not really looked into much. That's because many of us consider it as not an important chapter. However, it may not be so important for formal writing, but however, it's good to have a working knowledge of what interjections are and exactly where should we be using them. Okay, so we'll be looking into what interjections are. Let's go about. What are interjections? Interjections are words we use to express sudden feelings of surprise or excitement. Consider the following examples, such as we say, woohoo, yahoo, damn, oh no, oh my, yikes, hey, hi. You see? So basically, interjections are words, very small words we use to express sudden feelings of surprise or excitement. So whenever we are excited about something or whenever we are surprised, now these surprises can be good, can also be bad. If you're negatively surprised about something, you say, oh no. If you're positively surprised, you may say, wow, right? So these small words or these small expressions are basically known as interjections. And they make up the last chapter of the parts of speech, the 9 parts of speech that we have in English grammar. Okay, moving forward. Standalone interjections. Standalone interjections, what are these? We use interjections to convey sudden feelings of surprise, both good and bad or excitement. Consider the following examples. Yikes, there is a mouse in the garage. You did all this decoration by yourself? Wow. Ouch, that wasp just stung me. Yahoo, the school is taking us to a picnic. Oops, I forgot to bring my ID card. Terrific, I will get all the paperwork done. Right? So what's really happening in each of these sentences? Whenever we choose to put an interjection in a sentence, I'll take my words back. Let's do this again. What are, to be very specific, what are standalone interjections? Standalone interjections are single words that basically express a feeling of surprise or excitement, such as, for example, if you say yikes, right? Y-I-K-E-S, yikes, right? So when you say yikes, I mean, like Americans, some British people say this quite often, and they say yikes, right? So basically, yikes is not a very positive expression of surprise or excitement. This is basically, they say so whenever they're disgusted with something or whenever they're surprised at something negatively, such as is explained in this particular example here. Yikes, there is a mouse in the garage. So you see seeing a mouse in the garage is not a very pleasant experience, so yikes, right? So with this particular word, they're basically conveying a feeling, a sudden feeling of a sudden expression, a sudden feeling of surprise, a negative surprise, a negative excitement. So they say, yikes, there is a mouse in the garage, right? So this particular word, yikes, is a standalone interjection. This is a standalone interjection. Okay. Similarly, the same is conveyed, or a similar idea is conveyed when you say wow, but this time we say wow when we are surprised at something good, right? We say wow when we're surprised at something good, such as, for example, you did all this decoration by yourself? Wow, I'm impressed, right? Okay, so we say wow whenever we are surprised at something good, something very positive. Okay, ouch. We say ouch whenever we are hurt. Maybe, if you get bit by an insect or you get stung by a wasp, you say ouch. So we say that wasp, ouch, that wasp just stung me. Yahoo. Now, yahoo is a sudden expression of excitement. When you hear something very exciting, something that is definitely very positively exciting. You say Yahoo, like expressing your joy. So you say, Yahoo, the school is taking us to a picnic. Oops. When do we say oops? Oops again is another expression of a sudden expression of surprise at something foolish or at something negative, such as, for example, we say oops whenever we basically want to mean that, maybe we have done something wrong or someone else has done something wrong, and we say oops. So, oops, I forgot to bring my ID card. Terrific. Now, terrific is an expression of, it's a positive expression. So expressing your surprise at something good. So terrific, that's terrific news. Don't fall for the word terrific that basically somehow resonates with the word terrible or terrorist or terrorizing. These are very different words, right? But however, terrific, the word terrific is actually a very good word. It's a positive word, and it actually conveys a positive expression, a sudden positive expression, maybe, right? If you say it in that way. So you say terrific, I will get all the paperwork done. Terrific, I will get all the paperwork done. So for example, you've received some good news about something, and that whatever that you've received news about needs some paperwork done. So you say terrific, I will get all the paperwork done. So yikes, wow, ouch, yahoo, oops, terrific. These are all standalone interjections. Why standalone? Because these words, by their own right or in their own right, they form full or they form one complete sentence, and they can stand alone, right? So terrific, this is definitely an adjective, but however, it's forming a sentence by its own right, as an interjection. Okay, so this is why they're known as standalone interjections. Okay, so I'm going to reply to some of your remarks here. Nizamoni says, Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you? I was waiting for your class. Wa alaikum assalam, Nizamoni. I'm fine. Thank you for asking me. I hope you are fine as well. And I'm so thankful to know that you were waiting for my class, and I'm happy to be here with you as well. Okay. Tasnia Arabi says, Assalamu alaikum, sir. I'm waiting for your class. Wa alaikum assalam, Tasnia. Thank you for waiting for my class. I hope you will learn something today, and I can be an important part in that process, hopefully, inshallah. Mehdi Hassan says, Assalamu alaikum, sir. Good evening. Wa alaikum assalam, Mehdi. Good evening to you too. Salauddin Rana says, Assalamu alaikum, sir. Wa alaikum assalam, Salauddin. And then we have another message from Salauddin Rana. So I didn't get the nouns and pronoun quiz because of my late registration. Could you please email me those quiz if I'm eligible for those? Well, all right. Thank you for your request. I'll see if I can help you out in this regard. Okay. Abedin Mohammed bin Haas says, would you please come again about yikes? Oh, yes, of course. I mean, like yikes is just another interjection. It's a word that is expressing, that is conveying a sudden expression of disgust, right? We don't say yikes at something that is good or positive. We say yikes when we are disgusted by something, or when we are basically negatively surprised at something. So if you go somewhere and if you see, maybe, we don't like mice, right? So if we come across one somewhere, you might just say, yikes, there is a mouse over there, right? So there you go. Yikes is an interjection and a sudden expression conveying a negative feeling, conveying a negative feeling of, or a negative expression of surprise. Okay? All right. Now moving on to the next slide. What do we have here? Standalone interjections. An interjection can be put anywhere within a sentence. And this is important. Let's see what we have here. More on standalone interjections. An interjection can be put anywhere within a sentence. You can put one at the beginning of a sentence, at the end of a sentence, or in the middle of a sentence. However, wherever you put the interjection, you must make sure that you have explained adequately the purpose behind the use of the interjection. Also, most interjections are followed by an exclamation mark, but that is not compulsory. Consider the following examples. Wow, you planned this party for me? Here, as we can see in this particular sentence, we have the interjection wow at the very beginning of the sentence. Now, take a look at the second example. You planned this party for me? Wow. Now here, again, we have the interjection wow, but this time the interjection is put at the end of the sentence. Let's take a look at the third example. I may not succeed, but hey, at least I know that I have tried, right? I may not succeed, but hey, at least I know that I have tried. Here, in this particular example, we have put the interjection in the middle of the sentence. As you can see over there, it's hey. All right. So what we have here, standalone interjections can be placed anywhere within a sentence. It can be put at the beginning of a sentence. It can be put at the end of a sentence. It can also be put in the middle of a sentence. However, wherever you put a standalone interjection, you must make sure that you have provided adequate explanation as to the use of the interjection, right? Such as, for example, if I just said wow out of nowhere, if I just said wow, that wouldn't really make much sense. Or if you just wrote wow, I wouldn't know why you had written so, right? So I need to know why you did so, which is why you need to, which is why we need to basically write more to add more information or to add more value or to bring in the purpose of the interjection, such as wow, you planned this party for me? So now with the question, you know why you're surprised. Or I know why you're surprised when you say, wow, you planned this party for me? So the person is, whoever is making this remark is surprised at a party that was designed and that was planned for him or her, right? Similarly, I may not succeed, but hey, at least I know that I have tried. So if I just wrote hey, that wouldn't make much sense. So I needed to bring in more information, or I have to put it in such a way so it fits into an idea. So I may not succeed, but hey, at least I know that I have tried. Okay? All right. Interjections in a sentence. Interjections in a sentence. So when using an interjection in a sentence, we must express the use of the interjection in a unique way. Now, this is interesting and very important. Let's see what we have here. When using an interjection in a sentence, we must express the use of the interjection in a unique way. We can set it off with commas, or we could put the interjection within parentheses. Consider the following examples. We may not win, but hey, we gave our best. The project was delayed because the procurement team made a few mistakes. It takes only about 10 minutes, wow, to reach the city on this new train. All right, so take a good look at the examples we have here. You see, in each of these examples, the interjections have been separated in some way, right? Either you set them off with commas or you put them within brackets. Do anything or do what is required to do to separate these interjections to basically express that these are unique remarks or unique expressions. These are not just like any other word in the sentence. You follow? So we may not win, but hey, we gave our best. So here, when you insert the interjection hey, note that we have separated or we have somehow made it unique with the help of commas before and after the word, right? So we may not win, but hey, we gave our best. Okay, the project was delayed because the procurement team made a few mistakes. Now you just don't want to write it. You want to add an interjection to the sentence. You want to bring in an interjection in the sentence, right? So you did so, and you wrote ahem, right? Ahem is like when you basically clear your voice. So we say, right? To actually spell it or to put it into words, we write ahem, ahem, right? But it's not actually pronounced as ahem. It's actually more like a cuff, or like giving a cuff, right? Or clearing your voice, such as. So the project was delayed because the procurement team made a few mistakes. So what do you do? So you write it and you put it inside brackets. Okay. All right. It takes only about 10 minutes to reach the city on this new train. Now, this is an exciting news. So you need to add that element of excitement to this particular to this sentence. And how do you do so? you bring in an interjection, right? So you write wow, but can you just keep it that way? Of course not. You need to separate it. You need to keep unique in order to express that this is just not any other word, but a very unique word, adding some element of surprise or adding some element of excitement to this sentence. So you say it takes only about 10 minutes, wow, to reach the city on this new train. So you need to keep it, and you do it in a very unique way. So you keep this particular interjection within parentheses or within brackets, right? Okay. We have a very good question here from Kondokar Arafat. He is asking, can we use interjections in formal written English? Very good question. Thank you for asking this question. I do have this answer. I do have the answer to this question, but I'll come to your question a little later because I have something like this just in a while. Okay? All right. Moving forward to the next slide, what do we have here? More on interjections in a sentence. So we must remember to set off the interjection in a sentence somehow. We cannot leave it with nothing to mark it as separate from the rest of the sentence. Consider the following examples. Gee, I hadn't thought of that. Incorrect. Gee, I hadn't thought of that. This is correct. And what's the difference? We just added a comma right after the interjection, gee, right? So gee, I hadn't thought of that. So coming back to the original point, and that being whenever we add an interjection or whenever we put or write an interjection in a sentence, we must separate it with either commas or brackets. Okay, such as the example, gee, comma, I hadn't thought of that. If you didn't put the comma, your sentence would be grammatically incorrect. Are we clear on this? Hopefully. Okay. Now, moving forward, when to use interjections. Now, Kondokar Arafat, your answer lies in this piece of writing here. Because interjections are usually separate from other sentences, it's hard to use them incorrectly. The bigger concern is whether it's appropriate to use an interjection in your writing. Interjections are fine to use in casual and informal writing. It's okay to use them in speech too, but avoid using interjections in formal writing because it may appear that you're not treating the topic seriously. And now you're ready to go out and use interjections. Hooray! You see? So what do we have here? We can use interjections, yes, but we do them in informal writings, not in formal writings. Okay, so whenever we are writing anything formally, maybe an email or maybe a cover letter or a school assignment, something that's of course formal, right? We cannot add interjections to our formal writings. However, if we are writing informally, or maybe we're writing a story where there are dialogues, right? Maybe in those cases, maybe in such an informal piece of writing, we can definitely add interjections. All right, but not in formal pieces of writing. Okay, all right. So this is it on interjections. I'll go through it again. Okay, so what are interjections again? Interjections are words we use to express sudden feelings of surprise or excitement. These are very small words that we use to express sudden feelings of surprise or excitement, such as woohoo, yahoo, damn, oh no, oh my, yikes, hey, hi, right? Okay. However, also note, an entire sentence can also form an interjection. An entire sentence can also form as an interjection, like in the example here. Yahoo, the school is taking us to a picnic. So this entire sentence has been turned into an interjection just by adding or by putting the exclamation mark at the very end of the sentence, right? This is a grammatically correct sentence. However, to add some element of surprise or some element of excitement to the sentence, we have turned the entire sentence into an interjection by putting an exclamatory point or an exclamation mark or an exclamation point at the end of the sentence. So Yahoo, this cool, it's taking us to a picnic, right? There you go. We have a question here from Abidin Mohammed Minhaz asking, we can use brackets during formal writing if we want to use this type of INJ, interjections. All right. Well, yes, we do use brackets in formal writings, of course, but we don't use brackets to cover or to or to put interjections in them when we're writing something formally. Okay, so when you're basically writing something formally, or maybe when you're writing an email to your supervisor or to a colleague, you just don't possibly add an interjection to your email. That would make the email informal. But you don't want to make it informal because official emails cannot be informal. You need to keep them completely formal. So you can write many things within brackets, of course, things that must be there within brackets, but you cannot possibly put an interjection in a bracket as long as you're writing something formally. Okay? All right. Bad is an adjective, but badly is an adverb. Yes, of course. Bad is an adjective, badly is an adverb, definitely. So yes, so these are standalone interjections where you have one word forming one complete sentence, giving an idea or expressing a sudden expression or a sudden feeling of surprise or excitement. Okay? But there is more to it, and that is you need to come up with more explanation. You need to come up with more explanation to support your interjection, because you cannot just write a word like that and expect your reader to understand the purpose behind the particular interjection, right? So I cannot just write Yahoo and not write anything else, because otherwise, in that way, or if I do so, my reader will not understand the reason behind my expression of excitement, right? So I need to add more. I need to write more to actually make him understand why am I excited in this particular place. So if I write Yahoo, I need to write more, such as Yahoo, I have gotten a promotion, right? Or wow, this is a beautiful office, something like that, okay? So an interjection can be put anywhere within a sentence. You can put one at the beginning of a sentence, yes. We can put interjections at the end of sentences, or we can put an interjection in the middle of a sentence. However, wherever we put interjections, we must make sure that we have explained adequately the purpose behind using interjections. Also, most interjections are followed by an exclamation mark. Just a moment. Okay, right, so as I was saying, yes, so an interjection can be put anywhere within a sentence, at the beginning or at the end or in the middle. Besides, we need to come up with an explanation explaining the purpose behind the use of an interjection. Okay, moving forward. Interjections in a sentence. More on interjections in a sentence. When using an interjection in a sentence, we must express the use of interjection in a unique way, right? So we can set it off with commas, or we could put the interjection within parentheses. Consider the following examples. We may not win, but hey, we gave our best. The project was delayed because the procurement team made a few mistakes. It takes only about 10 minutes to reach the city on this new train. So whenever we put an interjection in a sentence, we need to separate it somehow, or we need to make the use of it unique in some way. And we can do it either with the help of commas, or we can bracket them. Okay, we can bracket them in a sentence, such as the second example, where you want to sound, or you say, right, to say so, or to actually write it down in words, we write ahem. If pronounced, it is pronounced as ahem. So this ahem is bracketed, right? Okay. However, taking a look at the first example, here we have an interjection as well, which is hey, but hey is not bracketed, but rather separated with commas, or made unique with the help of commas. We may not win, but hey, we gave our best. Okay? So whenever you put an interjection in a sentence, remember to separate it with either commas or with brackets or parentheses, as is called in the United States. Okay, we've got some questions here. Let's take the questions. Tanjila Afroz Aliza says, I have another question. The movie was enchanting. Here, the word enchanting is cause, not effect. Can you explain it, please? Not really. I haven't really understood your question, ma'am. Could you please again post this question once again, but a bit more clearly? Thank you. All right. Salahuddin Rana has another question. Is interjection somehow related to exclamatory? Now, not exclamatory, but yes, an interjection is often followed by an exclamation mark or an exclamation point to show that, to express the element of surprise. We know what an exclamation mark is, or what an exclamation, which one is the exclamation point. We know it. So whenever we put that exclamation point or mark right after a word, we basically do so to express our feeling or our sudden feeling of surprise, right? So just for example, if I say wow, or if I write wow, and right after wow, I put that exclamation mark, this is complete now. Without the exclamation mark, just W-O-W wouldn't be complete, wouldn't make much sense, okay? Wouldn't be grammatically correct as well. All right. Ninzamoni has another question here asking, sir, I'm not clear about the use of comma in sentence besides interjections. Okay, there is nothing to be unclear here. The point that I'm trying to deliver here is that whenever you use an interjection in a sentence, you need to separate that interjection either with the help of commas or with brackets. Okay? You set off an interjection either with commas or with brackets, such as, for example, take a look at this slide and take a look at the examples here. The first word in the sentence is G-E-E, right? Spelled or pronounced as G, right? So G is another very common interjection used by Americans, and they say G, just like yikes. Okay, whenever they commit a mistake, whenever they come across something not so pleasant, they say G or or yikes or oops, right? So whenever you say so or you write so, you need to separate it, or you need to put a comma immediately after your interjection. If you don't do it, your sentence would be grammatically incorrect. So you need to put a comma, right? Okay. And there are other interjections, or some interjections, or even this word G can also be put in a way, or maybe in the middle of the sentence, where you put it and somehow, and you need to bracket it, okay? Because you may not want it to be pronounced when read, but then again, to express the idea or to express the element of surprise, you just write it down so your reader, when he or she reads it, knows that there is some element of surprise in the sentence, just like in this slide, or just like in this example over here. Take a look at the third example here. It takes only about 10 minutes to reach the city on this new train. Now, when you say so, when I read it, if I read it without the interjection, wow, I would not get any element of surprise. I would not understand that there is something surprising about it, right? But now that I have the interjection, wow, bracketed, although I don't read it out loud, because whenever there is something within a bracket, we skip reading that part. That is exactly how it's meant to be. Okay, we don't read it, but we see it. and we understand it. So whenever I see that there is wow within brackets in this sentence, I may not read it out loud, but I can understand that there is some element of surprise in this particular sentence, and I should read it out accordingly, such as without the interjection, I would say, or I would just, I would just read it like, it takes only about 10 minutes to reach the city on this new train. But now that I have this bracketed interjection here, I can understand that there is some element of surprise in this particular sentence. And so I say, it takes only about 10 minutes to reach the city on this new train. So when I say this, or when I say like this, you, on the other hand, also get to understand that, well, all right, so there was something surprising about it. Like, this is nothing common, or this is not unsurprising. This is surprising that, all right, so this train takes only about 10 minutes to reach the city from this point, right? So yes, that's the purpose of interjections, to add elements of surprise or to add elements of excitement to your sentences. And you can do so with the help of, and we write interjections, or we add interjections to sentences. And when we do so, we need to separate them or make them unique somehow. Either we put brackets or we set them off with commas. Okay? But then Mohammed Minhas here says that, just a moment. Excuse me. Yeah. So he says, if we do not use comma, then G could be considered as a person's name or any kind of name, isn't it? Yes, you're close. That's right. It could be, yes. Although G is not is not officially a recognized name for any person, but then again, it could be a pet name for a person. So yes, also, even if it were to be a name, even if G were to be a name, you would have to put a comma right after it, because, for example, if I were to talk to you and say, Abedin, could you please pass me the glass of water? Right? If I were to write this down, right after I write Abedin, I have to put a comma. I cannot just keep it that way. Abedin, could you pass me the glass of water? I cannot just write it without any punctuation. I have to put a comma right after your name. That is the correct way to do it. The otherwise, or not doing so, would be grammatically incorrect. So, yeah. So without the comma, or with the comma, without the comma, G would be incorrect or grammatically incorrect. So considering it as an interjection, you must put a comma after G. Okay, so G, I hadn't thought of it. Or G, I hadn't thought of that. All right? Okay. Any more questions? If you have any more questions, do please post your questions here in the comment section. Yeah, the word enchanting is cause, not effect. Okay, so basically, as you can see, I'm going to take you and show you the slide where we have all our contents marked. So today, we have officially finished this first stage of our course, which is primary English grammar. We've completed it successfully. Congratulations to all of you. And thanks to all of you for being with me so far. So we're done with primary English grammar, where we have covered the 9 parts of speech. This is the 3rd week of the course, and today is the first day of the 3rd week. And by now, we have covered nouns, pronouns, articles, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and today we've just finished interjections. All right? Tomorrow, however, inshallah, we will move into the 2nd stage of this particular course, and that would comprise of the subject-verb agreement, the present tense forms, the past tense forms, the future tense forms, conditionals, the active or passive voice, direct and indirect speeches, and we'll end the 2nd stage with modal verbs. Okay? All right. Punctuation, yes, we will go through punctuation. Sultan Al-Arafat is saying that probably we were supposed to go through punctuation class. We are. We are still supposed to go through it, and we will go through it, but punctuation comes much later. Punctuation is I'll show you where punctuation is. There you go. Punctuation is actually the last chapter of the third stage. So in the third stage, or in the intermediate English grammar stage, we'll be going through a subject and its predicate, relative clauses, adverbial clauses, reported clauses, adjectival phrases, adverbial phrases, noun phrases, sentence structure, redundancy, reference, homonyms, phrasal verbs, capitalization, and punctuation, inshallah. All right? So please bear with me. Do attend these sessions, and I hope we will be able to cover each of these chapters as we want to, as we dream to, inshallah. Okay, Tasnim Bushra says, I have some confusion regarding verbs. All right, that's good. You can post your, especially with the classification, that's good. All right, fine. You need to be a little more specific about what confusion you have regarding verbs, and you can post your confusion here in the comment section, and I'll try to clarify it as much as I can. And if you do want to go through verbs now, have a little recap on it, we can do it as well. Okay. I'll take you through it. Here we go. Verbs, since you wanted to know what verbs are. Khandaq Arafat says, all of the lectures have been really fruitful, have learned a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this acknowledgement of yours. It has been my pleasure to be a part of this entire course, and thank you, and I'm grateful to you too. And I'm thankful to Allah that all of us are being helped through this course. Okay, so let's see what we have here. A little recap on verbs. So what are verbs again? Verbs tell us what the subject of a sentence or a clause is doing or being. Okay, I'd like to take just a minute's break because I can hear the adhan, so we'll wait until the end of the adhan, okay? All right, thank you for waiting. So what are verbs? Verbs tell us what the subject of a sentence or a clause is doing or being. Grammatically, verbs must agree. Grammatically, verbs must agree with their subject's person, number, gender, tense, aspect, mood, or voice. A verb is at the core of a sentence. A verb cannot be avoided at all. When we want to form a complete sentence, a verb itself can form a complete sentence. Consider the following examples, such as run and believe. So what do verbs do? Generally, what verbs do is they basically tell us what a subject is doing or how the subject is being or in which state of being is the subject is. Okay? All right. How many types of verbs are there? we may say that there are eight types or categories of verbs: action or dynamic verbs, verbs that basically describe actions or actions, yes. Then we have non-action or state or stative verbs, basically those verbs that tell you how or in which state of being a subject may be in, a noun may be in, or a pronoun may be in. Okay, then we have got main verbs, verbs that basically verbs that are the principal verbs in or a verb that is the principal verb in a sentence, such as, for example, if I say, he is teaching the English language. He is teaching the English language. If I say so, if I say this sentence, which is the main verb here? The main verb is the word teaching, because that's the main action, the subject language. Okay, helping or auxiliary verbs, which are helping or auxiliary verbs. A helping verb basically helps a main verb do its work. Okay, there are times when when a main verb cannot stand on its own. It needs some support from a helping verb, such as, for example, he is English. He is teaching English. When I say he is teaching English, the main verb is, of course, teaching. The helping verb is the word is, right? We cannot, because that would be grammatically incorrect. So we need to put a helping verb here to help the main verb stand, which is. He is teaching English. Regular verbs, of course, verbs that don't vary much or verbs that don't change much in their past or past participle forms. And irregular verbs are those verbs which have very different forms or which change greatly when put in their past or past participle forms. Transitive verbs are those verbs which are immediately followed by a noun or a pronoun, or which are immediately followed by an object. And intransitive verbs are those verbs which do not require a direct object, or which are not immediately followed by a noun, or a pronoun can actually be followed by a preposition, such as, for example, the verb give, right? We don't say give to me. We cannot say that, because give is a transitive verb, and it cannot be followed by a preposition. It needs to be followed by a noun or a pronoun immediately, right? So we say give me, not give to me, okay? On the other hand, let's take another irregular verb, or let's talk about an intransitive verb such as, all right, let's go to the slides. Let's go to the slide on intransitive verbs. There you go. Okay, so here, take a look at the verb blew, right? Or disappeared or laughed. These verbs are intransitive and they don't require a noun or a pronoun be put right after them, okay? But on the other hand, transitive verbs, they very well do need, such as, for example, loves. My sister loves cake. I fed the cat. So right after the verb loves, we put the noun cake. Right after the verb fed, we put the noun phrase, the cat, okay? On the other hand, right after disappeared, there is nothing, because it needs no noun or pronoun. Likewise, blew, the wind blew. No pronoun or noun needed. We can end the sentence with this very verb, okay? However, yes, we can put adverbs after it or prepositions if need be, all right? Modal verb, Tanzila Afroz Aliza says, so please explain the term modal verb. Well, we do have an entire chapter on modal verbs, and we will discuss modal verbs at length, okay? Like I showed you here, my presentation. We do have an entire chapter on it, and we will discuss it at length, but not today. There you go. As you can see here, we will discuss modal verbs after we've discussed direct and indirect speeches. Okay? So yes, let us be a little more patient, and we'll get to it soon, inshallah. Okay, so if there is any other question regarding interjections, please feel free to post your questions in the comment section. And today there won't be a quiz on interjections. However, I'll be sending you a small exam on the parts of speech that we have learned. and that we've finished learning today on all the 8 parts of speech. Okay? Sorry, on all the 9 parts of speech, starting from nouns to interjections. Now, if you have any questions or if you have any confusions regarding any part of speech, I would recommend you to actually watch that particular lesson or go through that lesson that basically covered the chapter that you may be confused in. And even after that, if your confusion is not clear, you can let me know. You can post your query here in the comment section, and I will try my best to clarify your confusion. I cannot give you my word on that, but I will definitely try my best to clarify or to clear your confusion out. All right? So I hope to see all of you tomorrow again, inshallah. And tomorrow we'll be beginning the second stage of this course, which will, of course, comprise of the subject verb agreement, and many other wonderful chapters, inshallah. So yes, see you tomorrow. We have a remark here from Dustin Bushra. I'm really thankful to you, sir. I never thought learning English can be this much easy. Thank you a lot. MashaAllah, bless you with all the happiness in the world. All right, thank you so much for such kind words. I am honored and I'm truly fortunate to have been here to guide you through. So thanks to you, and thank you for staying with me and for attending all these sessions. All right? Okay, then, see all of you tomorrow, inshallah. Until then, everyone, please stay well and take good. Okay. Allah Hafiz. Fi amanillah.